This is shore one. You can switch between each shore power.
If you want to plug that in, but we don't plug this in.
It's not long enough.
If you're in Catalina or Long Beach and you want to bring in the power line to power the boat, you bring it in. You can bring it through here, but
Security in the salon is not very tight because it's canvas, so you do not want to leave valuable equipment out here when the boat is put away. And one of them is actually the chart plotter, which we stored down below. And there are some cushions down below that we've already removed. You have a salon table that lowers and raises. This can be a sleeping area.
Yep.
You lower it. We're not going to demonstrate that right now. And then we have these two
cushions are down below.
lockers down below. So we'll start with that. This is where the gas tanks used to be. There's a spare propane tank, some type of gardening tool,
Sprayer.
and a bag with
Cleaning supplies?
just nothing.
Empty bag.
Maybe it's a shade. Maybe it's like something to create more shade.
Yeah.
So if you look here, it's just empty. There's some hoses there.
Yeah.
It's for illegal cargo.
That's where, like in the Millennium Falcon, that's where they hide the contraband.
Yes, that's where. Exactly.
And so to lower this table, you release
You undo that.
this puppy
We
here.
don't do it now, right?
No. And then you bring it down.
But it sits here on this lid,
Okay.
so then we can look in here.
Life jackets.
Just one note: when this table is lowered into the bed position, you cannot open up this locker. So those life jackets would not be accessible. Not life jackets.
Okay, we have tools, flares,
We
vacuum.
have tools here, shop back here.
It says flares. Is it more than flares?
That's emergency.
Yeah,
That's
those are
emergency.
flares. Those are down below. Those are down below. Those are flares.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Nice. Next to it is a bag,
That's what we
cleaning supplies.
Okay.
Then there's a shop vac. And then behind it, there is a manual.
That is a pump for the
Bilge.
dinghy. Now this thing in here is, with the black hose, is your only bilge pump on this boat.
There's no powered bilge.
There's no electric bilge. So if you're taking on water,
This is it.
that's it. Now, if they don't lock those handles down, I'm okay, because anybody wants to break in, just cut through the canvas here.
What about water on the fabric? So this keeps it from
Just
moving
close it.
when you latch it here on the canopy. This is pretty straightforward, but you should, you have crew on board, you're cruising, you want to, that's a briefing that you want to brief the crew on, not to push on the windows. One of them have been pushed out already.
Yeah.
The beauty is they're heavy glass and they don't streak, but they can be pushed out.
The one thing that we found when we were out and tacking is that the sheets would get caught on the starboard side, would get caught on the starboard side there, which could have easily broken the window, and the same thing with the port. So
Good point.
I think that when you're underway, you've got to close those windows.
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
Gives you
Thanks for
better
bringing that up.
visibility also.
Open this up. You have your start batteries. See what this is? It's already set on 1. I guess we're not messing with this.
Yeah, even though the log says to lower it. But to switch it, there is a little button, the red button. You have to press that in to do it.
You do?
Yeah.
This is your voltage sensitive relay module. And then you have some breakers. The charger and the engine.
Now you see there's a little yellow tab underneath that one of the levers there?
Yeah.
Under, you look at charger right above that? That's what pops out. The little yellow. And so if the engine stops running, hopefully that will be a popped, and then if you push that back up, the engine will restart again.
And if it pops out, there's usually a reason why it popped out, so just popping it back in doesn't necessarily
Fix it.
fix it.
Yeah.
It may. It's just you might want to rethink.
Is there
your power
one for
bill.
both engines, or?
This is for this side. This is for the port side.
Don't know. I don't know how
Okay.
it's
It says
wired.
engine. It doesn't say engines.
Yeah.
Just a start bat, start
Well, you
bat.
got the same thing on this side. That's how it looks like.
We'll look at
I'm
that
gonna
inside.
find out in a moment.
1, 2, 3.
Now we have head. The head has a breaker, which means the head is
Electric.
charger, panel, solar, wind, anchor, inverter, solenoid, 3 more batteries. Wind and solar are power regeneration sources. Right behind these are your fuel tanks. Remember that.
And the batteries are operating as one single
Yes.
bank. Bank. One bank
Now,
of battery.
one other really interesting thing is that you saw the water intake on the other side. We actually do not have a water tank for fresh water. They put the water between the hulls. So if you drill a hole through the hull, you will drill a hole through our water tank. This is a wind generator. The actual unit is there in the starboard aft. There's 3 settings. There's off, which sort of arrests its movement and locks it. Free, which just allows it to spin free like a color in neutral. And then on, which provides resistance and creates trickle electrical energy. Right now it's in the off because we're on shore power. Don't use it except when you're anchored or docked, because if you're trying to use it while you're sailing, the propeller may actually get tied up with the topping lift. And if you're on close haul, the wind generator, the backwash from the sails kind of make you spin around. It's not very efficient. We were told by one of the guys who read the manual just to leave it on off when you're not using it. Don't know why there's a free position. We have to call the manufacturer about that. You've got the shore power, you've got the solar power, and you've got the wind generator, and you have the engines. It's been told that if you're running all the way to Catalina on the engines, then you should leave some of your electrical systems on because there's no regulator and you can overcharge the batteries if you just run the engines. So they recommend leaving some of your electrical systems on.
Like what? What system?
Well, they said the lights, but lights don't burn very much. But that's what's in the manual. We found some issues with the charging on the batteries on our cruise, but that remains to be figured out. We start out with about 220 ampere hours on the batteries, and the first day when we got to Catalina, we were down to about 65% battery power, and kind of like a Tesla. And 65%, we're down to about 150 ampere hours left. And that was the engine running all the way across, so it didn't charge the batteries. When you get into Catalina somewhere, or if you're anchored during the day when everybody's awake, I would probably turn on the wind generator. And then come like dusk at night when people go to bed, I would turn it off. Solar is always being used. We constantly leave the fridges on, even without shore power. And the solar cells are powerful enough to recharge the battery and to keep the refrigerators running all the time. So just leave the fridges on.
Well, there's no way to turn them off.
Yeah, there's no way to turn it
They're like
They're like hardwired.
Hardwired.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The winch is hardwired in, the engines are hardwired, and it looks like the fridges are hardwired. All the essential components of the boat. So there's 4 power systems. And again, Salkin would like you guys to take your shoes off, especially if they're wet, if you're going to go down below. It'll be fun.